This is going to be a tough game, guys. Okay, our Chicago Bears, led by rookie quarterback Justin Fields, will be taking on Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback of all time, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this weekend. Can we pull out this dub? Watch this video to find out. Before I begin with this video, a huge shout out to the sponsor of this video, FANDUEL Daily Fantasy. If you guys are not playing Daily Fantasy yet, you are definitely missing out big time, okay? It's a lot of fun. I know a lot of you guys play year-long fantasy, but if you want the opportunity to draft a new team, you know, every single week or whatever day, like for a Thursday night game, if you want to draft a team for that game or for a Sunday game or whatever day you want to draft a team, you can do that with FanDuel Daily Fantasy. Pretty much how it works is that you have a budget of, let's say, like, for example, $50,000 or $60,000, depending on what contest you enter. But pretty much using that budget, you have to build the best possible lineup for that week in fantasy. Now, obviously, the best players are going to be worth a lot of money. The bad players are going to be worth a lot less money. So you kind of have to identify which budget players you think are going to outperform their dollar value. So, you know, pretty much depending on what contest you enter, you could also win some money doing this as well, right? Like every contest, a lot of the contests have dollar entry fees. And if you place in the top, let's say like 10% or 5%, for example, you could potentially win some money. So I'd highly recommend downloading this app, guys. I have a link down below in my description box and also pinned in the comment section as well. And if you guys sign up using my link, you also get a 20% deposit match on a deposit up to $500. And also, if you sign up through my link, it greatly benefits my channel as well. So I greatly appreciate that for sure. But guys, if you're looking for a, you know, fun thing to do on the weekends, if you want to make watching some football games more fun, I would highly recommend downloading this app and playing daily fantasy through FanDuel. What's going on, guys? I'm back with the Chicago Bears prediction videos, which I'll be doing before every single game this year. So if you guys want more prediction videos from me, videos about the Bears in general, subscribe to this channel. But in today's video, guys, I'll be breaking down the upcoming game between the Bears and the BUCS this weekend, which actually starts at, I think, 3:25. So it's a later afternoon game, so keep that in mind, okay? Make sure you don't accidentally think it's a 12 p.m. game. I know we got Jim Nantz and Tony Romo on the broadcast as well, so it should be a fun broadcast. It should be a fun time watching this game. But talking about this game, guys, I'm not the most hopeful for this week for a variety of different reasons, okay? Obviously, I think the Bears have a chance to win every game because we're not that level of bad like a team like the Jaguars or a team like the Jets where we don't have any chance at all at being the good teams. But I'm just saying, looking at this team right now, this Bucs team right now, led by Tom Brady, we have a very, very slight chance of winning this, okay? In Vegas, we're actually 12.5-point underdogs against the Bucs, which might honestly be the biggest point spread I've seen in the entire Matt Nagy era. So practically nobody thinks we're going to win this game. Obviously, it is a very tough matchup because we're going up against a team that won the Super Bowl last year, so a team that has a crazy amount of talent on it, and a team that returned practically all of its talent from its Super Bowl winning team, okay? That usually doesn't happen like at all, guys. Like usually you lose at least like a few players. The Bucs brought back practically every single starter from last year's team. So they're off to a 5-1 start this year, playing very good football. Tom Brady is still looking like an MVP level quarterback, which is so crazy to me because this dude is 44 years of age. Think about how crazy that actually is, okay? We have never seen this ever before in the NFL, and this dude still is performing at a very high level, okay? And if you look at the age gap between Tom Brady and our rookie quarterback, Justin Fields, this will actually be the biggest age gap between starting quarterbacks in NFL history, okay? Tom Brady is 44, Justin Fields is 22, meaning the age gap is 22 years between them, okay? When Tom Brady was 22, Justin Fields was just born, okay? So that obviously plays into the big point spread, okay? When you're going up against a quarterback this experienced, not only that, the greatest quarterback of all time, like you're not going to get much of a chance to win this from Vegas because that's just historically, rookie quarterbacks don't beat Tom Brady, okay? The last rookie quarterback to beat Tom Brady was Geno Smith like a long time ago. You also got to keep in mind Tom Brady will be extra motivated for this game because we beat him last year. And we also saw that, you know, meme arise of him holding up the 4 fingers thinking it was 4 down. Like he got made fun of, got laughed at by the national audience against our team. And knowing Tom Brady, he doesn't take those things lightly at all, okay? He's going to use that as extra motivation. So it's going to be tough for the Bears to win this game. It's not impossible, but let me break down the Buccaneers team. First of all, kind of give you guys an overview of the roster right now, starting with the offense. Okay, so the Buccaneers offense so far this season has been one of the most dynamic offenses in all of football. Okay, they're number 3 in both points and yards per game. So clearly moving the football down the field very well, being very efficient in the red zone too. They don't waste many red zone opportunities that they get. So really good scoring offense. They're number 1 in passing in this league. Okay, so in passing yards, they're the best offense in the league. But a key stat is that they're number 28 in running the football. Okay, in rushing yards, they're number 28. So practically all of their offense is passing the football down the field. And I think that's mainly because they don't really need to run the football with how quickly they can score points. The Buccaneers, guys, have 3 legitimate number 1 wideouts on the same exact team. Okay, they got Mike Evans, who's been doing this for a while, putting up so many 1,000 plus yard seasons. Chris Godwin, very good all-around receiver as well. They added Antonio Brown last year, one of the best receivers of all time, and also probably, in my opinion, the best route runner in the NFL right now. So when you have this much talent spread out all across the field, guys, there's only so much you can do as a defensive back. Okay, as a defensive coordinator, how do you possibly stop all of these guys? Tom Brady has been distributing the ball very evenly to all these guys too. It's not just been like favoring one guy. Okay, so Evans has 420 yards and 4 touchdowns. Godwin has 409 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Antonio Brown has 418 yards and 4 touchdowns. So pretty much Brady has been spreading the ball out to all these guys equally because all these guys can win their one-on-one matchups. Okay, you can't double up anybody. You can't give help to any particular guy because then the other guy on the other side is going to beat you. They also got some big body tight ends in Rob Gronkowski and OJ Howard. Both of these guys are big physical men. They're very tall, very good after the catch too. Okay, they can put the moves on you. They can stiff arm you to the ground. They can shake tacklers off. So really tackling these guys will be a concern for us, especially because our secondary hasn't looked very good in tackling at all. Okay, so Roquan Smith in the middle, if he ever gets the opportunity to match up with Gronk, which I think Gronk should be playing in this game. He was injured the past few games, but I think he's coming back for this game. That's going to be a challenge for the Bears defense and for, Roquan Smith as well. So pretty talented tight ends they have on this team. If you look at the running game then, like I mentioned, it hasn't been doing a whole lot this year. They're only number 28 in running the football so far. Leonard Fournette only has 330 rushing yards, which isn't among any of the top running backs so far, but I think that's mainly because they haven't needed to run the football because they can pass the football down the field so effectively. Okay, if you can just pass all over your opponent's defense, why would you even need to run the football? Okay, when you're doing the passing game so well. Okay, so I think that overall the running backs do have talent though. They obviously have Leonard Fournette, they have Ronald Jones, which a couple of years ago these guys were viewed as being one of the best running back tandems in the league. They just have not been able to show off their talent because they haven't been needed so much on this offense because they're so good at passing the football. And I think one of the reasons why this passing attack is so dominant is because this offensive line is probably the best in the NFL, or at least top 3 in pass protection. Okay, from the left tackle to the right tackle to the interior to the center, the guards, like all across this offensive line, they have star level talent. Okay, Tristan Wirfs, guys, you remember him from last year? The guy that Khalil Mack owned on national television, got past him 2 times, flipped him over and slammed into the ground. That dude has not allowed a single sack since that moment. Okay, he's been one of the best right tackles, one of the best offensive tackles in all of football. So Wirfs is tough to get past, but if Khalil Mack goes up against him again, hopefully we can repeat what happened last year. Okay, so really good level tackles that they have, really good interior offensive line as well. Tom Brady has all day to throw the football usually, and that's why they have so dominant of a passing attack. And speaking of Tom Brady, guys, what can I say that hasn't been said so far about this man? He is easily the greatest quarterback of all time. Reading a defense, he can do that easily. You've seen every single defense there is to see. The only thing that can stop him probably at this point in his career is pressure. Okay, he's actually not been a good quarterback under pressure to this point this year. But if you just look at his stats overall, guys, okay, he has 2,064 passing yards, 17 passing touchdowns, only 3 interceptions, making very good decisions, passer rating of 108. This guy's performing at an MVP level so far this year, which is crazy because he is 44 years old, but he is still the same Tom Brady that he has always been. Moving over to the Bucs defense, and it's not nearly as dominant as it was last year. Okay, the Bucs defense was a top 3, maybe the best defense in the NFL last year. They are far from being a great elite defense up to this point this year. They still have the talent to be an elite defense later on this year, but they've just suffered so many injuries. they've also, some players have just, some key players have not been performing at the same level that they performed at last year, to the point where they're not as scary as they used to be, okay? They're number 9 in yards allowed, but they're number 16 in scoring defense, so been pretty bad in the red zone. But they're also the number 27 passing defense, okay? So teams have passed all over this Buccaneers secondary, which is kind of crazy because they're performing at a very high level last year. Now, the only really dominant part of this Bucs defense, though, is their run defense, okay? They're ranked number 1 against the rush, okay? Not allowing many yards at all on the ground per game, which is obviously, that's to be expected, okay? They have Ndamukong Suh in the middle. They have Vita Vea in the middle, too. So they have big boys in the middle of this defense. But otherwise, the secondary has not really been the same, okay? If you look at Antoine Winfield Jr., the rookie from last year, he's been injured a lot so far this year, okay? Also not playing at the same, probably Pro Bowl elite level up to this point this year in the games in which he has played in. So Antoine Winfield Jr. being in and out has kind of hurt them. Other members of the secondary too have really, they've been injured at certain points. And also, if you look at the cornerback that they have, they don't really have a truly elite corner up to this point, okay? They have obviously Carlton Davis, they have Jamal Dean, they have, who else? They have Ross Cockrell too, playing at a pretty good level, but none of them have been truly elite to this point. They did sign Richard Sherman, a couple weeks ago, I think, but he was playing pretty poorly, and he also injured himself the last game that he played in. So secondary, man, clearly having problems up to this point. Now, one thing that might help this defense, though, is Lavonte David, Captain Lavonte David, coming back for this game, okay? I think he's on track to come back. He was injured before this week, but I think he might be coming back this week, which would be a big boost to this Buccaneers defense because, like I mentioned, he is the captain of this defense. He's a strong leadership presence. As a linebacker, too, he's one of the best coverage linebackers in the entire NFL. Pretty good against the run, too. So David coming back, that'll be huge for this Bucs defense. And, overall, like I mentioned, they still have so much talent on this defense, okay? They still have JPP, Jason Pierre-Paul. They have, Shaq Barrett, okay? This guy already has 4.5 sacks on the year, 31 pressures, too. He has phenomenal speed. And, going up against a guy like Jason Peters, an older tackle in this league, he could probably have himself a day, okay? So this Bucs pass rush still is pretty good. Their interior defensive line also pretty good, but as a whole, the defense has not been that strong because of the secondary. Talking about the Bears then, okay, I'll go over this briefly because you already know my opinions on the Bears, but talking about the Bears offense, first of all, we have been struggling mightily up to this point. It's been the same old story as practically every year under Matt Nagy, okay? We rank number 32 in yards per game. We're number 30 in points per game. We're the number 32 dead last in passing offense, but we're actually pretty good in running the football, okay? We're ranked number 7 in running the football. We're gaining how many yards? We're 129 rushing yards every single game. So clearly the heart and soul of this Bears offense right now is the run game, okay? It hasn't mattered which running back we have in here. David Montgomery, Damian Williams, Khalil Herbert, all of them been going off in this rushing scheme, okay? Khalil Herbert, the last game, he started his first game ever, as a pro, and he had 100, I think almost 100 yards rushing and a touchdown too. So, running back talent in this team is pretty deep. It doesn't matter which running back we have. Herbert has been looking strong. Monty is not coming back for a few weeks, but we do have Damian Williams coming back because he was on the COVID list for last week. So that should be a big boost to our run game. But, overall, man, this is how we move the football down the field, okay? Pounding it down your throat because Bill Lazor loves to run the football. What he doesn't love, though, is passing the football because the Bears rank number 31 in pass attempts per game. We haven't given a rookie quarterback much of a chance to shine because he barely throws the football, every single game. And when he does, the pass protection hasn't been the strongest up to this point. I think our offensive line has been pretty decent against the bad pass rushers, but going up against good guys, going up against elite defensive linemen, edge rushers, they haven't been that strong, okay? And I also think that our scheme with Bill Lazor, with Matt Nagy, whoever's running the show right now, I barely even know at this point. Like, it's not working up to this point. It feels like our receivers can never really gain much separation. It feels like there's not many plays to actually, for Justin Fields to take advantage of because it seems like a lot of plays are doomed from the very beginning. Now, the positive thing about this Bears offense right now is that Justin Fields is taking a lot of deep shots. Okay, he's throwing the football down the field and looking pretty accurate with the football down the field, but he just isn't getting enough passing attempts per game to have this reflected in his stats. Okay, he's averaging less than 200 passing yards per game. So I think that Justin Fields eventually is going to have a breakout game in this offense, but we have to let him pass the football. Otherwise, it's not going to happen, okay? But overall, this Bears offense is nothing to be scared of at this point in time. Talking about the Bears defense though, it has still been a top 10 defense up to this point this year. Okay, they're number 7 in yards allowed, they're number 8 in points allowed, they're number 8 against the pass, number 16 against the run, which I feel like a run defense number suffered because of the last game against the Packers where Aaron Jones ran all over us. Okay, so that was a bad game against the rush, but otherwise our run defense also hasn't been the worst so far this year. But like overall as a whole, like this Bears defense right now, it's good enough to win a championship if we had like a really elite top level offense. Okay, if you look at a team like the Chiefs, man, the Chiefs would kill to have a defense like this Bears defense right now. But the thing is though, guys, is that our offense is so freaking bad to the point where if our defense even allows like 24 points a game, we're not going to win the game, which the Bears defense definitely is not the best in the NFL, but it is still, you know, top 10 defense in my opinion. Okay, the cornerbacks have been looking better as of late. I still think that Jalen Johnson's, you know, really the only true elite corner that we had. Kinder Vildor and Duke Shelley have had their fair shares of mistakes, and we do need to upgrade our cornerbacks eventually, but so far they haven't been the strong liability I thought they were going to be entering this season. Now, if you look at our pass rushers though, that's where truly the, you know, strength of this Bears defense is. Okay, KHALIL, MACK, and Robert Quinn have 11.5 sacks combined. Now, Robert Quinn has been placed on the COVID reserve list, but I believe he is vaccinated, so if he tests negative, I think 2 times before game time, he can still play in this game, which would be ideal for us because we need all the pass rushers we can get going up against Tom Brady. But if he doesn't play, we still have our second-year player, Travis Gibson, having a pretty good season himself. Okay, he hasn't played the whole lot, but in the time that he's played, he's made a lot of splash plays on this defense. Okay, he already has 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, a forced fumble as well, a couple batted down passes. So I'm pretty confident in Gibson being good, but obviously you would like to see Robert Quinn playing because he's, you know, he's a veteran. We're paying him a lot of money and he's been having a very dominant season so far. Okay, so pass rush really good. Secondary, you know, does have some weaknesses. Our safeties have not been the strongest. Tashawn Gibson has looked horrible back there in coverage. Eddie Jackson's had his tackling issues, but you know, overall, it's not as bad of a defense as they thought it was going to be entering this year. Now let's get to my 3 keys to Bears victory. How can the Chicago Bears miraculously win this game? And key number 1, guys, is going to be to flip the script on the offensive side of the football, meaning that you're going to have to pass the football way more than you have been doing the past few weeks. Okay, the Chicago Bears are number 31 in pass attempts per game. We're like top 5, top 6 in rushing attempts per game, and going up against this Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense, that's not how you're going to beat this defense, guys. Okay, I guarantee you, going up against Vita Vea, Ndamukong Suh, all the big boys that have in the middle, McClendon too, like, we're not going to be able to run the football, you know, 20, 25 plus times a game and have success with it, most likely, okay, with how dominant their run defense actually is. So if you're just wasting downs by continually just trying to run over and over and over again and trying to establish it when it's clearly not working, we would be robbing ourselves of the only opportunity we have of actually winning this game, and that is to put up a crazy amount of points. Okay, I don't expect the Bears defense to hold this Bucs offense to, you know, less than 20 points because that's clearly not going to happen, okay, with all the receiving talent they have on the field. So the only way we can win this game is by having Justin Fields torch them going down the field. I know it's a lot to ask out of a rookie, but that's the only chance we have in this game, guys. And also going up against this Bucs defense, especially their secondary, like this secondary is very susceptible to quarterbacks passing the ball on them. Okay, like I mentioned, they're number 27 in total pass defense. So if there's any game in which Justin Fields should have somewhat of a breakout game, I would hope it would be this game, right? Because they are susceptible on deep passing plays. They're susceptible going down the field, and we should take advantage of that. Okay, don't hide Justin Fields anymore. I get he is a rookie, but let him make mistakes. Let him push the ball down the field. If it works, great. If it doesn't, oh well, because that's the only chance we have of winning this game. Key number 2 then is going to be to get Tom Brady into the dirt. Okay, the only way you can beat Tom Brady at this stage in his career is by getting a crazy amount of pressure on him, because if you just let him sit around all day in the pocket, he's obviously going to dice you up going down the field. He has 3 number 1 options to throw to, okay? Antonio Brown, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. And I guarantee you, even though our secondary hasn't been as bad as they thought it was going to be, it's still not close to being an elite secondary at this point in time. So with the corners that we have back out there, they're going to get open in a few seconds. So practically the only chance we have of stopping Tom Brady is by getting him down into the dirt. Immediate pressure from the interior, from the outside as well. KHALIL Mack is going to have a very similar game to the one he had last year against the BUCS, where he had almost 3 sacks. One got called back, but he was a monster going up against Tristan Wirfs. So he has to pretty much repeat what he did last year. If we don't have Robert Quinn in this game, that's definitely going to hurt. But Travis Gibson, man, the young player, he has to step up as well, because the only way you can beat him, like I keep on saying, is by getting pressure on him and also by getting him into the dirt. He is 44 years old. Make him feel it, okay? Get those quarterback hits, get him down to the ground, and just hope that the continual hits and the pressure, eventually make him make a mistake, because Brady doesn't make that many mistakes at all, guys. So we're going to have the same pass rushing effort as we saw last year against the BUCS. So that's key number 2. And then finally, key number 3, guys, is going to be to force the rare Tom Brady turnover, like I kind of alluded to at the end of my second key, okay? The only way you can beat this BUCS offense right now, which is firing on all cylinders under Byron Leftwich, man, they're averaging, over 30 points per game. They have, a top 3 offense in scoring and yards. The only way you can stop this offense is by forcing some turnovers, guys. And that's something that Tom Brady has not done enough of this season, okay? He only has 3 interceptions, but you're going to have to get him to turn the ball over and give our offense some good field position if we want to have a chance of winning this game. You guys saw last year in the win against the BUCS, we forced a big turnover, which led us to actually scoring points on that drive, okay? Otherwise, you guys remember, we were actually down 14-0 at the beginning of that game, and then we eventually came back. Our defense was a big factor in that, okay? The turnover that we forced, the sacks we got on Tom Brady as well, that's why we came back. So if we want to win again, man, we're gonna have to do the same thing and probably get more turnovers this time. So our cornerbacks, our safeties, maybe even our middle linebackers, they have to have their head on the swivel at all times and be ready to catch a lucky bounce and make it go the other way. If you let a ball slip through your hands on defense, you're practically throwing away the game, okay? Every time you get a lucky bounce, you have to be able to pounce on it and catch the football, okay? Because that's the only way we're actually going to win this game. So Eddie Jackson, man, I know you've been facing a lot of criticism of late. If you get a turnover in this game, maybe even a pick 6, a lot of that criticism would go away. Now it's time for my score prediction for this game. Who do I have win this matchup? And guys, I have the Chicago Bears going to Tampa Bay and losing this game by a score of 26-16. And it's fairly obvious why I'm picking this, guys. I mean, for all the reasons I've said in my video, to this point, obviously I want the Bears to win. I think we still have a chance to win. Like, I think the Bears always have a chance to win because we're not the worst of the worst football team, but just everything is stacked against us in this matchup, okay? We have a rookie quarterback that's going up against a quarterback that is the greatest of all time, but also has 22 years more of experience in this league than he does, okay? And not only that, guys, like we're going up against a run defense that is the best in the NFL, and that's the only thing we actually do good on the offensive side of the football, okay? Run the football down the field. And if that's taken away from us, I can't see us scoring more than 16 points, with everything I've seen to this point this season. And talking about the Bears defense, I don't think it's elite enough at this stage to stop Tom Brady and this offense from scoring less than 26 points. I think holding Tom Brady and this offense to only scoring 26 points would be a pretty accomplishing thing, but I can't see our offense scoring more than that to actually win this game. We're also going on the road, guys, so we haven't performed the best on the road this year. Our defense hasn't, so I can't see the Bears win this one, okay? I obviously hope I'm wrong. I always hope I'm wrong when I'm picking the Bears to lose, but I can't see the Bears coming out victorious in this game. As for my MVPs for this game, I have the Chicago Bears offensive MVP of this game being Darnell Mooney, okay? And I think that because last year going up against the same Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense, he actually had a very good deep route going, which Nick Foles completely missed him on, okay? If he can just get one more of those routes and, if Fields can hit him, that could be a big play for Mooney, and that could be probably one of the most explosive plays on this offense. So I think that Mooney is going to be our offensive MVP. For defense MVP, I have that being KHALIL Mack, okay? And that's because he's going up against Tristan Wirfs again. Now, obviously, Wirfs has improved a lot since the last time they matched up against each other, but I still feel like Mack, with the dominant season he's having so far in 2021, he can get the better of Wirfs yet again. But yeah, guys, that pretty much wraps up my video. Definitely leave your comments down below, okay? What are your predictions? What do you think is going to happen in this game? I'm predicting a lot of you guys probably think the Bears are going to lose. Rightfully so, because we haven't proven up to this point that we can beat a team like the BUCS. So You know, obviously I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'm hoping that the Bears somehow surprise us, which if they actually win this game, I'm going to be completely shell-shocked. Like, that would be probably the biggest win in a long time, but just right now I can't see it happening. Okay, I still think our future long-term is very bright. We still have Justin Fields, you know, developing every week, showing some potential here and there, but at this stage, I don't know if he's ready to actually beat Tom Brady. But leave your comments down below, guys, but as always, bear down.